Hey everybody, okay, this is like, this video blog or whatever, what have you, is definitely going to be directed towards a small minority of people that are out there that watch this channel. And if you want to watch this, fine, but as the title suggests, this is for other people that are, you know, hip deep or neck deep or, you know, ankle deep or whatever in the board game media world. My fellow creators and the people that you know, I think do fantastic jobs as far as promoting our hobby, promoting our lifestyle, and making, you know, awesome content that I and, you know, thousands upon thousands upon thousands, if not millions of people enjoy. So regardless, this is probably not going to be, I don't know, I'm not trying to say this is going to be some harsh truths out there or whatever, but I've noticed a really disturbing trend lately, and I know that sounds like clickbait and what have you. It's, you know, but I'm not trying to be like that. But I've noticed recently that you know, a lot of like Facebook channels, you know, some Reddit stuff, some things like some posts on Board Game Geek and things like that, where other content creators, other board game content creators are asking, you know, well, I see comments about like, oh, you know, it's like I don't know why I bother doing my channel anymore, or how do I get people to subscribe to my channel? How do I get people to watch what I have to say? How do I get people to comment on my videos? How do I get thumbs on Board Game Geek? How do I this, that, and the other thing? And it seems like people are going into the idea of creating video reviews, writing reviews, having an Instagram account, you know, just whatever. You're having a podcast. You're creating something, right? You're creating something that has to do with D&D, or not D&D. You're creating something that has to do with well, it could be about D&D. You're creating something that has to do with tabletop hobbies, and you're not getting back what you think you should get, I guess is the way to put it. So I'm going to say a couple of things from the get-go. First of all, don't think that what you're doing, if you are in that boat, if you are, you know, creating content and whatever, don't think that you are alone. There are lots of people out there that feel the same way. Heck, I feel the same way from time to time. When like, you know, that sounds actually fairly arrogant. I apologize for that. I feel like that all the time. I feel like, and you know, for what it's worth, you know, the whatever, you know, views I have and the followers I have, I'm very, very lucky to have them. And the fact that I have people that tune in to listen to what I have to say, whether it's my podcast, my weekly show, the album, my videos, or whatever, the fact that people do that, and the fact that people will come up to me at conventions and talk to me and tell me that they appreciate my videos, you know, I'm extremely, extremely fortunate, and I don't want to come across as like, oh my gosh, you know, it's like, oh, you know, you guys can't figure it out. No, that isn't it at all. I have said repeatedly on nearly every single podcast I've been on, I've said it repeatedly to people who listen to me, I am extremely fortunate that I started making board game media when I did, because of the fact that there weren't a lot of people doing it. And so I was, you know, one of like 4 or 5 options when I started doing it. And so that definitely gave me a huge springboard. As far as now, it seems like, you know, there's tons of people that are doing this. And I think that it's a good thing. I'm never going to say it's a bad thing that people are getting into it. Now, what I think is a bad thing is that I think people are getting into the hobby of, like, you know, writing a blog or doing a podcast or doing a video review program on YouTube or whatever. They're getting into it with the wrong intentions, I guess. I mean, I'm not, maybe intentions are the wrong thing, but expectations, I guess, would be the right thing. I think people will see what like Richard Ham does, or what Tom Vassell does, or like Dan King does. You know, I'm just throwing out names here. They'll see that the number of people that they have that follow them, the views that they get and things like that, and they'll say, "Oh, I can do that." And, you know, and they probably can, and they probably do, right? I mean, they go out and they make videos that are great, better than I make, and they go out and they make, you know, really good videos with graphics and content, and they just do a bang-up job, and they put their heart and soul into it. One of the first things you realize is that when you see somebody talking on a video camera and doing a thing is that you see it and you're like, huh, well, that looks like I could do that. But then you start doing it, and like the first few that you do are like, they're like passion projects, right? You have your game you really love, and you got done playing. I mean, I just gonna look over here. Let's say you got done playing Scoville, you know, and you know, from Tasty Visual Games, you got done playing Scoville, and you're like, this is great. I love this game. I really enjoyed this. You know, I'm gonna make a video review of this, so I'm just gonna talk about why I really love this game. And they go and they make that video, and they put graphics in it, and they talk, and they do all the takes, and they do all the editing, and they put, like, you know, 10, 15, 20 hours into the video, which is not uncommon. And they put all that work into it, and they post it, and they're like, oh, I created this, and they put it up there. And then they watch as, like, you know, views trickle in. You know, like, and they tweet it out, they put it on their Facebook page, they do all the things, and then they watch as, like, they're not getting, you know, thousands of views on there. They're getting, you know, tens of views, maybe 100 views. And they're like, well, you know, it's like, wow, you know, I put all this work and this effort into it. Why aren't I getting that? There's a problem with that. And I think the problem is that I think people have to ask themselves when they decide, I'm going to really do this, I'm going to do a video about this game. They have to ask themselves, why am I going to do a video about this game? And I think, and so when I see people that post on Facebook or on Board Game Geek or whatever, it's just like, I don't know why I do my channel anymore. Or nobody seems to think, and I shouldn't talk in a negative tone, nobody seems to think what I have to say is important. And I always ask, well, it's like, why did you start doing videos in the first place? And any answer is fine. If you said I wanted to start doing videos because I wanted to monetize them and I wanted to actually, like, make money off of my channel, great. I mean, that's a goal, and that's a perfect goal. It might not be a very successful goal. It may not be something that you can really attain, you know, without a lot of hard work, but it's a goal, right? And that's very important. You know, so if you said, I want to be part of the community, and I want to be able to, like, talk to people and have them respond to me, and I can talk to people about board games, great. That's a great goal as well. And but it isn't better than the first one by any means. It isn't. You know, you say, I want to be the next Tom Vassell. You know, it's like, great. That's a great goal. I mean, but the thing is that as Forrest Bauer, the Bauer's Corner, a good friend of mine, has said once, he's like, if you have to either treat your board game media channel or whatever it is, you have to either treat it like it's a job and work at it, or you have to treat it like it's a hobby and just not care about where it goes. And what that means is that it is very likely that at some point you're going to be saying, you know, it's like, why don't I have 1,000 subscribers? Why don't more people want to watch my videos? What's wrong with the stuff that I'm making? Why don't people go to my blog and read it? Why don't people download my podcast? The thing is that it's a glutted group. You know, there's a lot of people making content right now, and it is difficult to find your audience. And I think that's the trick, is that you have to clue into people, and people have to clue into what you're doing, and they have to like what you're doing. I'm going to reference somebody who I consider a good friend. Good friends, I should say. The Man vs. Meeple people. Okay, so everybody knows Jeremy Salinas was Draken Strike, and he did these fantastic videos. I mean, absolutely fantastic videos. And he did them like about a year. He started doing them about a year after I was doing my videos. And he did them for about a year and a half, and then he kind of just dropped off the face of the earth. He got busy, life took over, whatever. But at some point, while he was doing that, he had this idea, and he had this feeling. He had this idea that I'm gonna make I'm going to make a video game channel. I mean, not a video game. Well, it kind of looks like a video game channel. I'm going to make a board game channel on YouTube. And I'm going to monetize it. And I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to do this for real. And it was a crazy idea. But the thing is that Jeremy and David are two of the hardest workers that I know. I mean, and that isn't to say that any like other people like Richard Ham isn't a hard worker or Tom isn't a hard worker or anything like that. But Jeremy and David have earned like every bit of the success that they have with their Man vs. Meeple program. But they did it because they literally treated it like a job. They treated it like, I'm going to get up this morning at 8 o'clock and I'm going to work. I am going to work at having contacts in the board game world. I'm going to work at getting my videos done and uploaded and ready to go as soon as I possibly can. I am going to make sure that all those videos are made perfectly, right? I mean, I'm going to turn my basement into my movie set. I am going, and they busted their hind ends and created something very, very special. And that's good. Now, most people are saying, like, I'd really like to make a video. And then they say, oh, well, my iPad has a video function. I'll just take a video of myself with my iPad. And that isn't like it's a bad thing. But that's not treating it like it's a job. And ultimately, when people say, well, why don't I have this, why don't I have this, why don't I have this? There's two things I say to them, if they ask. One, why did you do it in the first place? If you did it so you could have 70,000 subscribers and 1 million views and all this stuff on your YouTube channel because you wanted to make popular videos, and once again, that's not a bad goal. If you want to make videos that lots of people will watch and you really dig that people watch those videos and think what you have to say and do and create is awesome, that's a great, I mean, fine, that's a goal. There's nothing wrong with that. But then you have to realize that there are people out there that are taking it probably more seriously than you do, and they're, burning the candle on both ends and making it happen. Now, if you're burning the candle on both ends and you're doing the exact same amount of work, and when you're watching this and you're saying, yeah, I do, maybe you do. But then you have to ask, well, why isn't it happening for me? And then you have to go and you have to, in my opinion, if you have to go and watch other people's stuff and see what they do and see what they're creating and see how it compares to what you do. And the bottom line is that, say new game comes out, Seventh Continent, is just getting delivered now. People are going to want to watch content about Seventh Continent. That's kind of bad. Content about Seventh Continent. They're going to want to watch that, right? But they're probably not going to want to consume all of it, if that makes sense, right? So they're going to go and they're going to watch a video by it. Maybe they'll watch an unboxing video. Okay, that was cool, and now I can see what the parts are. And then they're going to say, well, I'm going to go watch another video about, the gameplay. How does it work? And then they're going to say, oh, that was cool. And then maybe because, this maybe is a bad decision to talk about that game because of the fact that it has a lot of spoilers and things like that. And, it's kind of a legacy game. But let's say it was just one of those things where it's they watch another video that says, oh, the game's awesome again. And this doesn't have to be about Seventh Continent. It could be about anything. But after that, who's going to watch the 20th video about Scythe that's really great, right? I mean, it's just, people are going to they're not going to want to watch that anymore. So a lot of people subscribe to the idea that if you have to be the first person that publishes a video about that board game first. And that's true. I mean, if you are the absolute first person off the block that has that Scythe video and they upload it first before anybody else even gets a chance to say this, that, or the other thing about it, then fine. Yeah, it is very likely you are going to get more views of that. And if you can continue to do that for every big game that comes down the path, and you can continue to be the first person on the block to have that done, then that's going to help you a lot. I mean, that's like the one tried and true thing that I think that you can probably like hang your hat on and say that, you know, that'll work. But that's tough to do. I know for a fact that there are board game media people that actually contact companies and ask for and pay for the game and pay for overnight air shipping from the factory in China to get it delivered to their door so they can be sure they're the first person to have that game, and they play it immediately, like whatever, 1, 2, 3, 8 times, whatever they need to do to have that video ready, and then they release the video as soon as they possibly can. I mean, I know they do that, and that is insane, right? I mean, I'm like, you know, to go through that process. But I mean, if you can somehow pull that off, that'll work. But I want to backtrack a little bit here. The big question is, you need to ask yourself, when you find yourself saying, God, why do I bother making this podcast? Why do I bother, you know, doing these videos that nobody watches? Why do I bother writing this blog that nobody looks at? You know, you have to ask yourself why you're doing it in the first place. And then decide if it's still worth your time and your effort to do it. I host a weekly show every Wednesday night called The Alaboom. There is a ragtag group of people that show up every single night. It's on Google Hangouts. You can watch us live if you want to. It's at 9 p.m. Central Time every Wednesday night. Sometimes we miss, but for the most part, it's every time. We've been doing it for like 2 years now. We maybe have 15 people watch us live. Maybe. And then the video itself afterwards that goes up on my channel gets maybe 300-400 views. You know, if we got 4,000 views, that would be amazing, right? That would be super cool if they did. But it isn't too impressive. Like, how do I explain this? I don't do that because I want to get a ton of views. I don't do that because I feel like I'm turning the board game world on its ear, you know, and it's full of great content. It's 4 or 5 of us sitting around talking about board games, talking about life, talking about movies, talking about comics, talking about Netflix, talking about whatever. And we BS and we argue. We play some goofy games every once in a while, like you know, social, kind of like a social games, like, you know, question and answer type games. And we just have fun. We have a lot of fun. And for me, it's just fun because I get to talk to my friends. And that's all it is. The views and the people watching that interact with us, they're awesome. And I'm super glad that they do that. But we do it if we had 0. If I didn't get a single person to watch us and nobody watched the video after we were done, we'd still do it. Because we do it because it's fun and because we like it. Now, if I said, this is my plan, I'm going to have this weekly show, and we're going to do this, and we're going to have these topics and everything like that, and I'm doing it because I want to grow my brand, and I want to use it to add at least 10,000 more subscribers to my channel. I want to do it to add at least another 100 to 200,000 views on my channel every year. Then I would quit doing it because my plan wouldn't be working. And so then I'd have to do something else and figure something else out. So ask yourself honestly, if you get into that doldrum of, why don't I have more views, more interaction, more thumbs, more whatever, if you get into that slump, and we've all been there, I've been there too, if you get into that slump, stop, ask yourself what it is that you want, and then ask yourself if you have the time, if you have the patience, and you have the fortitude to do what you need to do to get what it is that you want. I guess I ultimately, it's one of those things where it's like, there are so many board game channels that have started on YouTube. And I'm sure there's tons of podcasts, and I'm sure there's tons of written blogs and whatever, that have started up with the greatest of intentions. and very good creators, mind you. People, and I'm not poo-pooing on their content at all, but these people have, you know, they've started them with the greatest of intentions. They want to talk board games. They want to talk about what they have going on with board games. They want to share their passion for the hobby. But they get beat down by the fact that they're not getting what they want out of what they're doing. And they quit. You know, I mean, it's just like there's a Facebook channel about for board game reviewers that there are thousands of people that are part of that group on Facebook. And I forget who told me this, but like they said, you know, in 9 months, at least a third of them will be gone. They just won't be making content anymore because it's a lot of work. It is. It's a ton of work. It is a ridiculous amount of work to maintain a channel, to constantly create content. You check yourself out of your life to do it, right? Because you're not, you know, rarely are you doing it with somebody else. You're taking time away from your friends, taking time away from your family, taking time away from your life to do it. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of time and it's a lot of effort. And for the most part, you know, I mean, as far as, you know, what you do, if you're looking for outside people to make it worth it for you, it's not going to be worth it. You have to be content with what it is you're creating and be just happy with the fact that you've created something and you've put it up there and you've made something. And if you get 100 subscribers, if you get 200 subscribers, if you get 10 subscribers, if you get whatever, that's awesome. And that really, really is awesome. If you stop and you think about the fact that, wow, there are 100 people I've never met in my entire life who have subscribed to my channel and are watching me talk about board games. That is cool. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you do. That is cool. And maybe, just maybe, people need to realize that and be content with that. I've always told people, how do I grow my channel? Make content. Make content, make content, make content. Don't vanish. Come out with a video every week. At least a video every week. Just come out with something. Even if you don't review a game, come out and just talk about the fact that you played 6 or 7. One of my favorite channels in the world is MaggieBot. Because even if she doesn't do like a video, she will just talk about board games that she's played and things that she's played, and she'll talk about the industry. And she's worked in the industry for quite a long time, and so she has a good knowledge of that. One of my favorite podcasts in the world is The Cardboard Jungle with Anthony Orcano. I mean, it helps that he's like a really good friend of mine, but he also is just extremely knowledgeable about life in general. And also he just makes content. He makes content, he makes content, he makes content. I can't begin to tell you how many podcasts and video reviewers that I've clued in on, and then like I'll go look at my subscription and I'll be like, what the heck happened to this guy? And then you look and it's like, oh, they haven't made a video in a year. And that's fine. You know what? Sometimes this isn't for everybody. But you're not going to grow your channel if you don't keep making stuff. And make stuff and make stuff that people want to watch too. I mean, we've all seen, I hate to say that because but put some work into it. Put some effort into it. If you want to go bare bones, I mean, get a semi-decent camera. I mean, you can get one for a couple $100, at most big box stores. Forrest Bauer, who I mentioned before, does all of his videos on an iPad. Use that. I mean, it's there. Your phone could even make a semi-decent video. Some of these new ones are pretty amazing. They have like, I think they even go up to 4K in some cases. So, but take the time and effort to have good lighting, have a quiet area to do it, and put the video together. But most of all, or podcast or blog or whatever it is you're going to do. But most of all, don't lose sight of the fact that the reason why you wanted to do it in the first place most likely is because you just love games and you love gaming. and you want to focus on that, and you want to create with that, and you want to, and it was an extension of the thing that you love as much as you do. So, all right. Well, I hope you got something out of that rambling mess of opinion. If you have questions, if you have a channel and you want to ask me about anything as far as like how do you want to do this, that, or the other thing, by all means you can ask away. I'd love to help you. If you have any comments for yourself, or if you have any comments for other people who might be watching this video and that can help them with their creation process and how they can build their channel, or what they can do to make their channel bigger and better and bolder and whatever, please post those. Other than that, I hope it wasn't negative. I mean, like I said, I think it's amazing that as many people out there as there are that, you know, create content. I think it's awesome that you do it. Just remind yourself that you don't deserve views. You don't deserve thumbs. You don't deserve subscribers. You don't have a right to any of those things. And getting them can be kind of a fickle thing. You know, it can be a very, whether or not you get them or get more or get less is kind of a crapshoot, you know, honestly. So the quicker you realize that you don't have a right to any of them and you don't deserve any of them, is the quicker that you will really cherish the ones that you do have. And yeah, so there you go. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this. As I said, comment, post away, say what you got to say. I'd be happy to respond to any of those things that you have to talk about. Until next time, it was me. You have yourself one heck of an awesome day. All right, bye-bye.